So that's our intro. It's playing down there.
Oh, okay.
One, two, three, four, get my shoes and out the door. Five, I'm alive. Six, seven, eight, feeling great. Nine, gonna shine, life is good. I'm doing fine. Ten, gonna do it right and do it again, yeah. I look into the sky with all the beautiful color, but there's more than just for me, so gonna share it with another. I got to show, to give, let out. I want to sing and shout. Take a look and see a beautiful morning.
Been in here and people are roaring with laughter, so.
It's a dirty show, though.
Well, it's clean dirt.
You have here the best of the best.
Yes.
So we have many celebrities here. The Harley Madison come over here, and the Usher come over here many often, and the Paris Hilton come here.
Boy, I'm dating myself, but it's okay. Nobody else will. Oh. That's so Vegas.
How do you see the world?
At Shriners Hospitals for Children, we know that changing how you see things can turn them into
everyday miracles.
Like riding my bike.
Breaking boards. Hugging my mom.
Every day for over 90 years, Shriners Hospitals for Children has been sending love to the rescue, regardless of a family's ability to pay.
If you know a child we can help, call or go online now.
Welcome to That's So Vegas. I'm your host, Christine McKellar, here in the fabulous Las Vegas Arts District, and I have a really fabulous guest here today. A man of juxtaposition, if I dare say, sitting here with me. Welcome, Phil Wigfall.
Hello, hello.
I'm so happy to have you here.
Happy to be here.
You brought your trusted alto sax with you. I so appreciate that.
Yes, I did. Yeah, my beautiful little Con 6M.
Ah, gorgeous. I love the
1947.
sax.
Yeah.
1947?
Yeah.
That's older than both of us, I
Yep.
think. Well, it's older than me.
It's older than me, too.
Okay, good. But that really, it's a 1947.
1947.
Is that passed down, or how did you come about acquiring that?
I bought it on eBay for $1,000.
Nice. Which means that was a really good discount.
It was, he wanted $1,300, and I said, "Would you take $1,000?" And he said, "Sold."
There you go.
And I bought it actually as a backup horn, just a B horn. You know, I had my A horn, and this would be the B horn. But I like the B horn better, so I sold the A horn, and now this is the A horn now.
It's lovely. I really do love the sax, and we've asked you to play just a little bit later on in the episode here, and we did a little warm-up that we put on Facebook, and I saw people going ping, ping, ping.
Oh,
yeah,
good.
The minute they heard those dulcet notes, but you're playing with Fat City Horns here now.
Yes, Santa Fe and the Fat City Horns.
Santa Fe and the Fat City Horns. I want to talk about them maybe in our next segment, but what I wanted to talk to you about today, and we're just to intro people to what's so unique about you, is you're not only, and you're a very well-respected saxophone player in town, and I know you've played, 8 years with Sheena Easton?
About 8 or 9 years, yeah.
And you've played in a number with, who are some of the greats that the viewer would recognize that you've played that delectable saxophone?
Oh, well, I played with Bette Midler for a short period of time when she was here in Vegas, and I currently also play with Celine Dion.
You play with Celine?
Yeah.
Boy, she's had a rough couple years, hasn't she? I mean, between her husband and then she was sick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, oh, yeah.
But she's a trooper, I imagine.
Oh, yeah, she's a total professional. I mean, she just knocks it out of the park every single time.
That's got to be a thrill. So do you never get bored with it, right?
No.
That's got to be, I hadn't even thought of this, but how exciting for you and other musicians to be able to blend, you're blending with her incredible voice. Do you have the sheets, and what do you call them, I talked to a guest about that recently, the map of the show. So
just the sheet music or whatever.
Right.
Well, we don't use any. Not at least not on that show. We actually, if we don't really know the music, we can put it on our iPads and read it from there. The iPad looks a lot cleaner than having an actual music stand on stage. So so we'll use those. We also use the iPads to read our music on Santa Fe and the Fat City Horns too. So it's a nice clean look.
right. Funny how the world's moved on.
Yeah.
You know, seriously,
No more
where
paper.
would we be without iPads and Facebook and everything? I shudder to think,
Yeah.
although I survived my whole life up until a couple decades ago without it.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that intrigued me about you is that not only are you a gifted and very talented saxophone player, and I would like to talk to you a bit about how that came about. I know you actually started with jazz and then moved on into funk and other genres, but you've also written a science fiction novel.
Yes, I have, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's this Soul in the Life of Otto Fink.
Yes, yeah.
And it's set, what, how many years into the future?
It's over 1,000 years
Wow.
in the future.
Uh-huh.
So it's in the year 3031.
And where is the locale? What is the...
It's on Mars.
My favorite planet.
Yeah, and it's been terraformed, so it's exactly like Earth now. Trees, oceans, just breathable atmosphere.
Very
everything.
nice. Yeah.
And so it's just like here, and except their day on Mars is called a sol, and it's actually about 37.5 minutes longer than a 24-hour day here. So,
That could get you in trouble.
so yeah, they have different clocks for that, on this particular Mars here.
I'm an Aries and Mars is my planet, so I always say I'm part Martian, or, when my stepkids were little, I kind of scared them a little bit and kept them in line because I was going to pull the Martian out on them.
Yeah.
But interesting. How did you get into sci-fi? We'll get back to the music, but I'm curious about your sci-fi.
I kind of started when I was a kid. I think I gravitated towards shows like Star Trek and Star Wars, and then my brother took me to see Alien.
Oh.
When I was about 14 years old.
I remember.
And just scared the mess out of me, but it was just utterly brilliant,
Indeed.
I've never seen a movie monster like that.
Ridley Scott.
And it was directed so very just ambiguously. You couldn't really see the creature close up. You couldn't see it from far away. It was always up close, so you never could see what it looked like. So it made it even more terrifying,
Do you remember the marketing for that? I thought it was the scariest TV commercial ever because they had the planet or the egg, and it was just silent. And then there was a line of copy that said, "In space, no one can hear you scream."
Yeah.
To this day, that just could give you nightmares. It really was a brilliant, and subsequently, even some of the, how sometimes the second or third movie of the series is just like doesn't cut it. But I think the other Aliens, they just went along just as well. Sigourney Weaver was just perfect.
Yeah, she was perfect casting for that movie.
Yeah, so that kind of inspired you. But you don't have any real monsters per se in this book,
No,
right?
no,
Other than the
no.
monsters among us, within us.
Yeah, that's probably about it, really.
They're probably the most frightful monsters you can imagine, but...
Yeah, but these characters they're pretty harmless. They're not gonna. They're actually quite wholesome, actually. They're still flawed, but
Aren't we all?
It's more kind of like out of in my inspiration of the characters were based off my love of Beverly Cleary when I was a kid. Her books, Henry Huggins' series, and Beezus and Ramona, and those are books that I grew up with. So those characters, I kind of went, I like these characters. So I kind of incorporated that into my love of Ray Bradbury.
Yes.
And I just kind of came up with this,
Well, you're so busy with all your gigs. I know that you're constantly in demand. You don't ever have a lot of downtime there. But I know writing a book, and I've written 3 novels and a couple of short stories.
Well,
but
good for you.
It does take time, and it's a labor of love.
Oh, yeah.
How long did this take you?
It took years, actually, to be honest.
It could be that. I understand, yeah.
Because when I first started writing the book, I actually, I came up with the concept after I did my album 2031, which is much darker sci-fi about a post-World War III futuristic Las Vegas.
Wow.
And so here I had kind of put myself in this world, and it was actually a depressing project to work on. And I'm proud of the project, but it was taxing on me as far as emotionally and just kind of. So I wrote this book to pull me out of the doldrums, actually.
Cathartic, yes.
But I still made it a continuance of that world, only 1,000 years in the future, and a much more positive future.
A brighter, lighter future. That's interesting. Boy, didn't I tell you time was going to fly? This segment's done, and I have to give a shout out to my sponsor already, but we're going to come back with some music, more about Phil and his book and the journeys that you've been on musically and literarily. Could you literarily? I like that. It's got an alliteration to it. Quick shout out to the Red Roof Inn on Paradise. Now I can't even talk. Paradise Road across from the Hard Rock Hotel. They are pet friendly and they have free Wi-Fi, continental breakfast for guests. Don't go away. I'll be right back with Phil Wigfall, and that's So Vegas. How often do you wish that you could grab a front row seat and for free to some of the greatest entertainment in Las Vegas? Would you like to feel like a VIP with behind-the-scenes access to who and what makes Las Vegas the entertainment capital of the world? That's So Vegas brings you up close and personal from the comfort of your home and or the comfort of your phone. Watch candid interviews with Vegas celebrities, entertainers, chefs, entrepreneurs, and visionaries. Like us on Facebook, join us on Twitter, and subscribe to our That's So Vegas TV channel to get each week's latest episodes. I'd like to give a quick shout out to one of our sponsors, CR Realty Services here in the Las Vegas Arts District. Wow, that was a very moving piece. Welcome back to That's So Vegas. Phil, that's kind of it. We were talking in the previous episode about your album, your CD, 2031, kind of a dark, futuristic piece. And that was an original composition from it, which I totally was getting into that. And then you wrote this book, A Soul in the Life of Otto Fink, kind of as a cathartic thing to get you out of the funk that composing that whole album, it took you someplace, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It
Why
really
did you do that? I mean, what was your inspiration to even create that?
It was because of my previous album, which is called Cosmic Soul, I did with mostly live musicians. Mm-hmm. And so this new album, I pretty much did it all at home, all computers. And so I thought, wow, maybe if I invented a new world and all the computer driven music was actually played by robots instead of live musicians.
Right.
So I invented a story about how I met these robots and how I got them to play on my new album. Oh. And so that's where the concept came from.
Very creative.
So
yeah. Although, with all the entertainment taxes and everything, remember when they first came out, it was like bam to all the live musicians in the lounges, and they may as well have had robots,
Yeah.
Because robots? Robots. Same difference. Well, those days are gone. And we mentioned previously your background is just so eclectic and wonderful, and you've played with Sheena Easton, and you play now currently with Celine Dion. You're up there on the stage with her. And also Santa Fe and the Fat City Horns.
That's right.
I love the name of that group. So tell me how Santa Fe came about and Fat City Horns?
Well, the leader of the group, Jerry Lopez, is originally from Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Love it.
And so when he came here in about 1976, I believe, and they, at first it was just him and his brothers, and they was called the Brothers Lopez or something like that. And I think a club owner said, you know, where are you guys from? He said, Santa Fe. So he said, well, you know, well, you guys are from Santa Fe, why don't you call yourself Santa Fe? And, you know, like the group Chicago, you know, so.
Dude, were they the
went with
original
that.
group Santa Fe that used to play here back in the 80s?
Oh, yeah.
It just came to me,
Yeah.
they were awesome. I
Yeah.
had no idea. I didn't put it together. They used to play like at, oh my goodness, I think
Everywhere.
even the
They play.
brewery when
Yeah,
it was
they
on. Whoa.
Bogies.
Bogies. Oh, you're bringing back
And
memories.
Cloud Night Lounge at the Maxim. Those are great places.
I
miss
remember
those.
at the Maxim, that really was a hot spot.
Yeah,
Long
that was-
gone now, but that's
yeah.
where we all went. And boy, we used to party like rock stars and
Yeah,
dance
yeah.
till dawn, literally. Well, hi, Santa Fe. Didn't realize that was, wow, I'm so blonde sometimes. So where did, well, what can you say? Where did the Fat City Horns come from?
I believe the name was given to Jerry by I think Judy Alberti. I think she was a entertainment director for the Station Resorts. And I think she came up with the name Fat City Horns, I think. And so it sounded cool. I think it sounded better than like, say, Sin City Horns or something. That sounds pretty
Right.
cliche. So,
Right.
But Fat City, I think that sounds better, you know.
It
This is a
brings-
pretty fat city,
It
you
is
know.
a fat city, and it brings
You know.
to mind just some big, juicy notes, you know, coming out of those horns. And, you know, as you know, you can do anything with that saxophone. We mentioned way at the beginning, it's a 1940 what?
1947 Con 6M.
And it's earned every note that comes out of it because, yeah, it's just, and you, of course, love and nurture it, but it's amazing. And so with the Fat City Horns, there's yourself and how many other horns involved along with?
We have 6 horns.
Dang, I love horns.
So,
How
yeah.
could you, what soul's so dead that you wouldn't love a good horn section?
And it's a very good horn section.
Yes.
I don't want to sound like I'm bragging, but
You ain't
it really is a
bragging.
very good horn section.
I've heard, you know, and I've heard excerpts. I'm just so sorry I haven't made it out. Where are you guys playing, like, in the next month or so?
Oh, we play every Monday at the Copa Room. That's off of the Bootlegger.
Oh, yeah.
We do that every Monday at 7:30.
Oh, goodness. I'm going to have to get my little self down there one
Oh,
of
yeah,
these days.
please do.
Mondays. I'll have to think about that. So, I was looking at your bio and everything earlier, and your parents were a big musical influence. Your parents had a lot of great music in the house.
Yeah, they sure did.
And obviously, you picked up the love of that music. But so you were kind of a jazz snob in your early years, is that right? Until you spread your wings and went off to university, or?
I was more of I think I became more of a jazz snob in college.
We all go through
And,
those college things.
You know, because I idolized the you know a lot of pop groups, you know, Jackson 5 and Earth, Wind and Fire, and my favorite rock group is the Police.
Oh,
so you know,
yeah.
I had all that. Aerosmith was a favorite. You know, so I had all that stuff in me that I loved. And then I took a trip back east to the New York area for a family reunion. And so my cousin took me over to New York to the Village Vanguard Club.
Whoa.
So I went there and I saw Woody Shaw and I met the saxophone player who was playing with him, who was just tearing it up. And his name was Kenny Garrett. And Kenny Garrett, I got to meet him after the set. And I asked him, wow, man, you sound great. You know, how long have you been playing? And he said, about 10 years. And the inside of me, you know, the bottom kind of fell out because I had been playing 10 years and I didn't sound that good. So that's when I went, I need to get more serious about jazz. I need to really, you know, knuckle down and play and be serious. And that's pretty much when I became a jazz snob. And then the same saxophonist I then saw two years later with Miles Davis.
Oh, yeah.
And they're playing mostly funk, funk-driven kind of jazz. And so I saw him with that, and he was playing that too. And that's when I went, well, okay, well, I've been kind of wrong, just being totally nothing but jazz and just do that, and no other music matters. And so I went, well, he's changed my mind twice, you know. So I started getting more into back into my roots of, you know, being into stuff like James Brown and Earth, Wind and Fire and stuff like that. So I went back into that, and this time I charged a little bit harder head on into it, you know, still bringing my jazz, you know, background in it with me too, but yeah.
What a great combination when you think about it, though, because as you said, when you were a jazz snob, and pure jazz snobs, they listen to some jazz that's so out there, you know, that for the average Joe or Jill in the streets, I mean, you're never going to follow it. But, you know, the more mainstream, Al Jarreau, too. I mean, do you ever... Oh,
no, I loved Al Jarreau, too.
Who did not? And Kenny G.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It took me a while to really get into Kenny G, but
he helped
really
bring the mainstream...
Oh, yeah, he really did,
yeah.
You know. But, you know, his brand of music is almost more like... it's almost more like kind of easy listening.
Right.
You know, it's definitely a lot more, almost leaning towards like music you'd hear in like meditation or something, you know.
Yeah.
Or in the elevator. It's just like really, there's no hard edges in his music at all.
Right.
You know?
It's more that romantic, like the Candles, have a glass of wine and then seduce your honey kind of music. So,
and you know, do a little yoga. You know what I mean?
A little bed yoga. No,
you know.
Yoga.
Well,
yeah. I mean, it was seduction.
To each his own.
Really. There you go. We have to take a break probably, and that's a good thing because I don't know where this goes. See what the saxophone brings out in me. I just really think it's the sexiest instrument on the planet. I will be right back, and I'm going to mention the Red Roof Inn on Paradise. They're my sponsor, close to the airport in the Strip, and they're pet friendly. Don't go away. I'll be right back with Phil Wigfall.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. If you think about that, I mean, go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. And there's one thing we're focused on here at St. Jude, and that's beating this thing.
Welcome back. What a fun episode this week. I'm Christine. I'm here with Phil Wigfall. And you know what? It's just been so very cool. I'm going to date myself at that because you brought the saxophone, you played a piece for us from your album, your CD, and what I love is having written 3 novels, and you're an author, and this is your book. It's available on Amazon, A Soul in the Life of Otto Fink, and it's set in a kind of a utopian future on Mars, like several thousand or 1,000 years from now. And you'd also, prior to the book, you had done your album, your CD, 2031. Yes. And in the course of creating that, and it was a little bit dark, and in it, I love that haunting, dark part of the saxophone, that element. You know, there's so many emotions and things that you can bring out with that fabulous instrument, and you're so gifted at it. We talked about your Monday nights at the Copa Room near the Bootlegger. Yeah. And you're with the, boy, did I have a brain revelation, Santa Fe and the Fat City Horns, who was the original Santa Fe we used to go out and party and dance till dawn to back in the 80s. So you cleared up all these things for me today.
Yeah.
I can't even thank you enough.
Oh, don't mention it.
Plus, you're such a delightful guest. You know, I've really enjoyed our conversation, and thank you for the sample of the music. So what I wanted to tell you about, too, and again, you have to love a gifted saxophone player who's also a gifted sci-fi writer. Hello. I mean, the two, you just don't think of them going hand in hand, but you've made them go hand in hand, so.
Oh, thank you.
Or we could say arm in arm. Say that, too. Yeah. I wanted to invite you, too, on my VegasOnlyEntertainment.com site. I have, and I kind of neglected it, but I have a category called the Vegas Only Bookstore. And I invite any author who's written about Las Vegas or Nevada, or who is from Las Vegas or Nevada, even though they've written about Timbuktu, there has to be Vegas Only hook. But I'd like to, we'll put your book up, and we'll put the link to Amazon, and then we do an affiliate thing, and then people can order it they go to my website, click on the link, go to Amazon and order it, and then, yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you.
You know, we all have to stick together, and I am really kind of jealous that you can write and play a beautiful instrument like the saxophone, where I wish I had been musically gifted, and I'm not. So,
well, you know.
Can't have everything.
I don't know, it's one of those things. Music's, you know, because I've seen people who practice, you know, religiously, and they just don't ever, you know, break through that ceiling to get to a professional level. And so, I don't know, I guess it's just one of those things.
I think it's a gift.
Yeah.
I really do. I took piano for several years, and I mean, seriously, I thought I was a good student, did my lessons. I was just like, don't get it. I mean, I have to have the sheet music, I have to practice, you know, and I don't have the time to devote to it, you know, so. But you've been playing the sax since you were just how old?
9 is when I started.
Is that your mom or dad bought you a saxophone? Or?
I pestered my parents for a saxophone, and it was between an electric bass or the saxophone. See, my brother had this great album by Herbie Hancock.
Oh, I
Herbie
love
Hancock's Headhunters album.
Whoa, I remember that.
And so I remember hearing that album. That inspired me to want to be a musician. So, and I loved the saxophone prior to that, but I was listening to Paul Jackson's bass, and I was like, oh man, I don't know if I want to play saxophone or bass. But and my dad was in Korea at that time, so I wrote him a letter saying that, you know, I wanted to play an instrument. I want to either play saxophone or bass. Well, my dad, who was a big Louis Jordan fan, saw the word sax and didn't even think about the electric bass at all. He said, "Oh, you want a saxophone? I'm gonna get you a saxophone."
Thank you, Dad.
So he made the pretty much the choice, you know,
for you.
solid.
Well, I think a father knows his son, and he certainly, boy, it's you know, we can tell by even the look on your face when you're playing that this is where you're supposed to be, and that's the instrument you're supposed to pick up. And I'm looking forward to come now. I've got to come see you guys play, because I just to look at the original Santa Fe, and I want to be close enough to wave at you, because I know it's an intimate room, and I'll let you guys know. I mean,
it's a pretty good sized room. You can let loose, you know, you know.
You know, it's about time I let loose. I had a long winter, but that's another story. Again, I want to thank you so much, Phil. It's just been a slice of heaven.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Until next week, I'm your host, Christine McKellar, and we'll be seeing you next week. Don't go away.
1, 2, 3, 4, get my shoes and out the door. 5, I'm alive. 6, 7, 8, feeling great. 9, gonna shine, life is good. I'm doing fine. 10, gonna do it right and do it again, yeah.